If you thought Maury, Jerry Springer, and Love and Hip Hop had already shown you the peak of DNA drama, think again, because what just erupted between Karlissa Saffold and Chrisean Rock makes all of them look like calm family counseling sessions. This right here? This is the kind of scandal that makes the Kardashians clutch their pearls, pack their bags, and say, nope, we can't compete with that. 'Cause out of nowhere, with the confidence of a supervillain on her lunch break, Karlissa just exposed JR's DNA truth. And the moment it hit the internet, the world didn't gasp. It flatlined. Screens froze. Timelines combusted. Phones overheated like they were running a PlayStation game from 2008. And when Chrisean Rock found out, she didn't just respond. She didn't just clap back. She detonated like someone unplugged her patience and plugged her into a nuclear reactor instead. Her reaction wasn't loud, it was legendary. The kind of meltdown that creates new memes, new trending sounds. And possibly a new category at the BET Awards. What Karlissa exposed. What Chrisean unleashed. And what the internet did with it. All of that is coming next. And trust me, you are not ready. From the moment this chaos started brewing, you could tell something unholy was forming in the blue-faced Chrisean Karlissa universe. Not a regular scandal. Not a small misunderstanding. No, this had the smell of a storyline cooked at 700 degrees of generational madness, seasoned with ego, resentment, and a dash of I don't care who gets hurt. Even before the DNA leak dropped, the energy felt off, like the beginning of one of those episodes where everyone smiles for 3 minutes. Before flipping tables for weeks, people sensed Karlissa was plotting something. You could see it in her eyes on live. The dramatic pauses, the sudden deep breaths, the I just need to say this real quick tone that always means the opposite. She started posting cryptic quotes about truth setting families free and God revealing what's done in the dark. Whenever JR's name came up, her whole spirit perked up like she had a secret she was dying to weaponize. The woman wasn't dropping hints. She was dropping emotional landmines. Meanwhile, Chrisean was busy doing what she does best, living her life loudly, fearlessly, and without worrying about who didn't like it. She posted her baby, shared moments of joy, cried on live, laughed through pain, snapped at trolls, and defended her child like a warrior queen with nothing to lose. She trusted her position as JR's mother. She trusted her bond. She trusted that no matter what the internet said, nobody could rewrite her truth. What she didn't expect, what nobody expected, was for the biggest violation to come from inside the family circle. Then, without warning, it happened. The leak, the drop, the digital earthquake that sent every phone in America into emergency mode. Screenshots began circling, showing Karlissa exposing JR's DNA results. Not talking about them. Not hinting. Not dancing around the topic with her usual back-and-forth energy. Actual results. Actual proof. Actual receipts she claimed were the truth everyone needed to see. And the moment those images hit the timeline, the internet didn't walk. It sprinted like it was late for an exam. Nobody could believe it. Not because of the results, but because of the audacity. Who leaks a baby's DNA? Who wakes up and says, let me expose an infant real quick? That sounds productive. Who decides to give social media a front row seat to a genetic scandal involving a newborn? The answer was simple. The same person who once fought everyone on live while wearing full eyeliner and kitchen lighting. The same person who believes the word boundaries is a foreign language. The one and only Karlissa Saffold. Within minutes, the memes arrived like a stampede. The public turned into detectives, comedians, and chaos analysts all at once. Some were zooming into the leaked document like they were studying the Declaration of Independence. Others were making jokes comparing the leak to plot twists from telenovelas. One meme showed Karlissa in a lab coat holding a swab with the caption, "Breaking. Grandma graduates from DNA Academy." Another had Maury looking stressed with the line, "Even I wouldn't do this." But the laughter came with outrage. People were calling it the most invasive move in Blueface family history, and that bar was already impressively low. Comments poured in accusing Karlissa of crossing a line she should have never even approached. They said she weaponized DNA. They said she was trying to reclaim control over a narrative that slipped away. The moment Junior was born, they said she was playing God with test results. And then, the inevitable happened. Chrisean saw it. There are certain historical moments when time slows down, like when Beyoncé first dropped Lemonade, or when Twitter discovered Rihanna's pregnancy. This was one of those moments. Because the instant Chrisean realized her baby's DNA had been exposed to the world without her consent, the atmosphere online changed. You could almost hear a rumbling in the distance, like the earth trembling before a volcanic eruption. Chrisean didn't ease into her reaction. She didn't blink twice. She didn't go silent and reflect. No, she responded with the speed of someone who's been training all her life for this exact scenario. She went online with the type of fury that can only come from betrayal, layered with heartbreak, layered with confusion, layered with who gave you the right. Her voice shook with emotion, but not the kind that breaks, the kind that warns. She called the leak disrespectful. She called it obsessive. She called it evil energy disguised as family concern, and she didn't hold back. She said Karlissa had no business touching anything related to her child. She said no grandma had the authority to expose test results. She said the entire situation felt like someone trying to strong-arm her out of her own baby's life. The internet erupted again. People said Chrisean's rage was justified. People said she sounded betrayed. People said she sounded like a mother pushed beyond her last nerve. But what made her reaction even more powerful was the raw heartbreak underneath the anger. You could hear how deeply she felt the violation. Because this wasn't just leaked information, it was a stolen moment, a stolen truth, a stolen choice. She didn't get the chance to protect her child from the internet's opinions. She didn't get the chance to decide how or when to reveal anything. Someone else took that from her. Meanwhile, spectators went into overdrive. Influencers started hosting live stream debates about whether Karlissa had the right to do this. Commentators compared it to the biggest betrayals in pop culture history, everything from Kris Jenner's PR stunts to the Tristan-Khloe saga. One viral clip said the situation felt like Shakespeare with Wi-Fi and paternity tests. Another creator joked, "This is what happens when your family drama has a fan base." But beneath the jokes was a growing tension. People began questioning the deeper motive behind Karlissa exposing the results. Was she trying to prove something? Was she trying to embarrass Chrisean? Was she fighting for her son's reputation while sacrificing her grandson's privacy? Or was this simply another episode of Karlissa chasing the spotlight like it was the last bus of the night? As the internet debated, the family's reputation took a hit so big it shook the foundation of every future conversation. Fans questioned everything about loyalty, trust, and intention. They wondered if Blueface knew. They wondered if the results were real. They wondered if this was another stunt or a genuine moment of chaos. Whatever the truth was, one thing became clear: this wasn't drama. This was war. And it was only the beginning. The moment Chrisean exploded online, the story didn't just escalate, it mutated into a whole new monster. It felt like the internet collectively dropped its responsibilities, ditched its jobs, and turned into a global watch party dedicated to unraveling this DNA disaster. This wasn't trending. This was digital extinction-level chaos. Every platform turned into a panic room full of strangers yelling theories, jokes, predictions, and pure disbelief. Twitter or X, depending on what mood Elon is in, became ground zero. People were tweeting like their rent depended on it. Some were laughing, others were furious. And a whole group started acting like certified genetic scientists after watching one episode of Grey's Anatomy. One viral tweet said, "Karlissa leaked DNA like she's dropping a new mixtape." Another said, "This family needs a professional therapist, a judge, a priest, and maybe Dr. Phil with backup." TikTok, even worse. Creators sprinted to their ring lights like athletes running toward the Olympic torch. Within minutes, Thousands of breakdown videos flooded the For You page. Everyone had an opinion, whether they understood DNA or thought chromosomes were luxury perfume brands. People were stitching clips of Karlissa's leak with dramatic music, slow zooms, and captions like, "This is why I mind my business." The drama became a new genre of content, DNA Cinematic Universe DCU. Meanwhile, Instagram users did what Instagram users do best. They turned the scandal into aesthetic chaos. Graphic designers created fake movie posters titled DNA, The Final Betrayal. Fan pages made fake casting lists for a Hollywood remake starring Angela Bassett as Chrisean and Viola Davis as Karlissa. Even lifestyle influencers started subtly referencing the drama. Like, remember to drink water today. Hydration is key when the grandma leaks your DNA. But the true cultural explosion came from the memes. Memes hit timelines so fast it felt like they were being printed from a fire hydrant. One instant classic had Karlissa dressed like a mad scientist holding a giant cotton swab while lightning struck behind her. Another meme showed Maury looking shook, with the caption, "I didn't authorize this." Episode? Someone even photoshopped JR into a WrestleMania poster titled Born Into Beef. But then celebrities jumped in, and that's when things turned apocalyptic. Summer Walker posted a single sentence. "Why grandma doing FBI work?" The internet screamed. Cardi B posted a gif of someone slamming a door and wrote, "This why I keep my family out my business." Snoop Dogg reposted a meme of Karlissa wearing a detective badge and captioned it, "CSI Crenshaw." Even Lizzo, who stays out of drama like it's allergic to her, tweeted, "Y'all need healing. Deep, expensive healing." And then the biggest twist, Blueface's name surged back up the trending list. Fans started hunting for old clips, old tweets, old interviews, anything that might explain why Karlissa felt bold enough to expose DNA without hesitation. They dug into archived lives like historians analyzing ancient scrolls. One resurfaced clip where Blueface mentioned "people lying on me" got dissected like it was a prophecy. Fans began acting like they uncovered clues from a conspiracy board. It didn't help that blogs posted every angle possible. Did Blueface know? Was this planned? Was this revenge? Was this part of a bigger plot? Theories stacked up like Jenga pieces. And everybody was waiting for the tower to collapse. But the situation turned even darker when people began claiming the DNA results might prove something deeper, something Karlissa allegedly held on to with that chokehold energy of someone who loves being right more than being peaceful. Commentators speculated she wasn't exposing truth. She was exposing power. She wanted control. She wanted attention. She wanted the narrative wrapped around her finger like a ring. And that's when things turned explosive. Not for the internet, for the family. Because while social media treated this like the season finale of the juiciest show ever made, insiders claimed the tension between Chrisean and Karlissa was worsening rapidly. Some even suggested there were private messages exchanged that were so heated they could melt aluminum foil. Friends of both women started choosing sides. Influencers close to the family started dropping subliminals. Every person remotely connected to them suddenly turned into a philosopher with opinions. Chrisean, meanwhile, didn't calm down. She fired off responses, made emotional videos, and spoke with a raw honesty that made everyone feel every word. You could hear her pain, her betrayal, her refusal to tolerate anyone using her child as a prop. She made it clear she wasn't scared of anyone, and she wasn't bowing to any toxic narrative that tried to diminish her. Positioned as JR's mother, her followers turned up harder than a stampede. Protect Junior, a Chrisean. We with you. Keep grandma away. The support felt like an army assembling behind a general gearing up for emotional war. And then Karlissa went live again. If her first live caused shockwaves, the second one broke the internet's spine. She didn't apologize. She didn't soften. She didn't even appear concerned. She insisted she was telling the truth because nobody else will. She spoke like a person who believed she was chosen by the universe to reveal DNA results. She called her actions necessary. She insisted she wasn't messy, just honest. The comments section dragged her with Olympic-level efficiency. People wrote paragraphs. People wrote novels. People wrote entire dissertations analyzing her psychology. Some begged her to stop. Others encouraged her like she was the host of a chaotic talk show. You could feel the intensity through the screen. But then came the moment no one expected. Viewers noticed Karlissa seemed happy, almost proud that she had the world's attention. It wasn't guilt powering her. It was adrenaline. It was ego. It was finally, they're listening to me. And that scared people. Because if the leak was about truth, she wouldn't be smiling. If it was about family, she wouldn't be online. If it was about love, she wouldn't involve millions of strangers. This wasn't truth. This was theater. Even worse. Other family members started chiming in. Cousins, siblings, random relatives nobody had seen since the 2010 Facebook era suddenly appeared. Everyone claimed they knew something. Everyone wanted relevance. It became a circus where every performer wanted the spotlight. As the scandal spiraled, the internet realized something chilling. The DNA leak wasn't the peak. It was the door. The doorway to a deeper problem. This wasn't about who Junior belonged to. This was about who owned the narrative and who refused to let go. And the moment people understood that, the stakes shot through the roof. The world waited for the next drop because in this family, error-free silence is suspicious. And the next move would change everything. When the dust from the DNA explosion finally started to settle, the emotional landscape around the blue-faced Chrisean-Karlissa triangle looked like a battlefield. Not a small battlefield, a full apocalyptic wasteland where trust lay shattered on the ground. Every relationship stood covered in smoke, and every timeline felt like it had witnessed the collapse of a digital empire. The leak changed everything, not just the narrative, not just the internet's favorites, but the entire dynamic that held this chaotic family together. The first wave of consequences hit Chrisean the hardest, not because she did anything wrong, but because she was the one blindsided. She was the one stripped of control. She was the one forced to react to a truth she didn't even reveal herself. Her privacy wasn't just violated, it was hijacked, packaged, and thrown into the public arena like a gladiator match. And in the aftermath, her tone shifted from rage to something deeper, a combination of exhaustion and disgust. Chrisean began talking about boundaries, real, possible to cross, electrified boundaries. She made it clear that this scandal wasn't something she could get over. It wasn't something she could brush off. It wasn't something she would eventually laugh about. This was betrayal with a capital B, and she was done pretending it was normal. She announced that certain people were permanently cut off from JR's life. And she didn't need anyone's approval to make that decision. And the internet supported her. Even people who typically critiqued her stood behind her like a wall. Public sentiment shifted dramatically. Suddenly, the storyline wasn't about drama. It was about right and wrong, about respect, about motherhood. Fans echoed the same message across the platforms. A baby is not content. DNA is not clickbait. This went too far. Chrisean didn't ask for validation, but she got it anyway. Millions of voices demanding she protect her peace, while Chrisean stood tall. Karlissa faced the opposite storm. Her comment sections turned into war zones. Followers unfollowed. Longtime supporters confronted her publicly. Her DMs allegedly filled with criticism, anger, and heartbreak. For once, the internet wasn't laughing with her chaotic energy, it was recoiling from it. Every time she posted, people asked the same question. Why would you do that to a baby? Doesn't matter if she had a reason. Doesn't matter if she thought she was revealing truth. The act alone was enough to turn her into a public villain. Instead of apologizing, Karlissa tried to rewrite the narrative, insisting she acted out of love, that she wanted clarity, that she believed the truth would bring healing. But her delivery didn't match her intention. Her tone was too confident, too unbothered, too proud of the chaos she created. She didn't look like a mom trying to protect her son. She looked like someone addicted to the spotlight, unable to let a scandal breathe without putting her fingerprints all over it. And the internet didn't buy it. Commentators called it the biggest self-inflicted PR disaster of the year. Influencers who normally stayed neutral said this crossed a moral line. Even some celebrities who chimed in earlier doubled back to clarify how wrong the exposure was. Karlissa's reputation, already famous for high-voltage drama, took a nosedive into uncharted territory. As all this unfolded, the wildest part was watching Blueface's name skyrocket through the conversation, despite not being present at all. His family saga kept him relevant, but not in the way any public figure wants. People speculated endlessly about how he would react once he learned what happened. Would he defend his mother? Would he protect Chrisean? Would he try to remain neutral and fail spectacularly? The public awaited his involvement like a plot twist they weren't sure they wanted, but definitely expected. But the real emotional hurricane rested within the family unit. Behind the scenes, relationships were breaking like dry branches under pressure. Trust dissolved. Loyalty blurred. Private conversations became tense, sharp, and loaded with accusations. People close to the situation started dropping vague statements online, adding gasoline to an already burning inferno. Everyone had something to say. And nobody had anything helpful to add. This wasn't just a scandal. This was the kind of generational trauma that reshapes how families function. Chrisean didn't just lose trust in Karlissa. She lost trust in the idea that family automatically means safety. She questioned intentions. She questioned alliances. She questioned everything and everyone. Meanwhile, Karlissa started playing the victim card. Posting quotes about betrayal, faith, and the difficulty of being misunderstood. But sympathy was low, very low. People didn't see her as misunderstood. They saw her as reckless. Reckless with truth. Reckless with relationships. Reckless with the privacy of a child who didn't even have the amount. I said that privacy of the permising. If you're using like a scanner, APE, as a scanner app, and it's like you're gonna die. Like, get, like, look at this. And we all know, I've been exploring. And we all know I've been exploring that Palesti. I call it with cows, with converts, with ability to defend himself. The internet treated the situation like a morality play, a cautionary tale about what happens when social media validation becomes more important than real-life consequences. Influencers released videos dissecting the psychology behind oversharing. Therapists dropped content about boundaries in toxic family systems. Even Twitter scholars who usually analyze rap beefs transitioned into analyzing the ethics of DNA exposure. Then came the whispers about long-term consequences. People speculated whether Chrisean would legally distance Junior from certain relatives, whether this incident would permanently fracture the family tree, whether Blueface would return home to a world so divided he wouldn't know where to stand. Fans debated endlessly, but one thing was undeniable. Nothing would ever go back to the way it was, and that's when the biggest realization hit the internet. The truth of JR's DNA wasn't the real shocker. It never was. The real shock was seeing how far someone was willing to go to control a storyline, seeing how fragile family bonds truly were, seeing how one reckless act could trigger a fallout big enough to stain reputations for years. The scandal became bigger than genetics. It became a question of character by the end of it. Chrisean stood stronger. Karlissa stood exposed. And the world realized something chilling in this family. Truth isn't revealed, it's weaponized. And if this was the explosion, the next scandal lurking behind the curtain might just rewrite the entire universe. Because in the Blueface Chrisean world, calm is temporary, chaos is generational, and the next bomb is always ticking. And if you're still here after all this chaos, then congratulations, you officially survived another episode of real-life insanity that makes reality. TV look like a warm-up exercise. Because what we just unpacked wasn't a scandal. It was a genetic earthquake. A family meltdown so wild even Maury would ask for a commercial break. But before you run back to Instagram to see who went live again, smash that like button like it owes you child support. Like Karlissa swabbing for answers. Like Chrisean throwing a mic when someone talks sideways. Don't tap it gently, attack it. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button with the same force the internet hit. That share button when the DNA leak dropped. Drop a comment below and tell me exactly where you stand in this historic chaos. Are you Team Chrisean protecting her baby like a lioness in a parking lot? Team Karlissa acting like she's the director of family genetics and public relations? Or Team Junior because he didn't ask for a nigh of this but somehow became the main character of a scandal he can't even spell yet? Turn on those notifications like your life depends on it, because in this universe, scandals don't wait. They don't sleep. They don't warn anybody. They drop at 3 a.m., during breakfast, during church. During dentist appointments, whenever the universe decides to ruin your peace. And remember, here at Expose Express, we don't just bring the drama. We unwrap it, poke it, exaggerate it, roast it, and deliver it straight to your screen hotter than Chrisean's temper on a Tuesday. Stay tuned. Stay entertained. And never forget, in this world, DNA isn't the only thing that gets exposed. Everybody does. Everybody does.